So we're going to put some markers on our paper about halfway on each side and at the top. And if we put markers on our paper, it helps us to transfer one drawing to the page. It helps us to identify where should we begin our lines and where should we end them. So I've got a halfway mark. I'm going to cut those two halves in half. What do I get? Quarters, right? And I'm going to cut the quarters in half and I get eighths. And that's all I need. For the right hand side, on the left hand side, I'm going to do the same. Just some little markings to help me judge where to begin and end my lines. So the top of the mountain is right below 7/8. So let's start that where it's down a little bit and it's going to go up past 7/8 a tiny bit. And it's going to come down and slope down. And it's going to become kind of flat. Now, it should end about 1/3 of the way across the page, 2/3 of the way. So 1, 2, I think I didn't end it. I ended it too soon. So I'm going to extend it a little bit to about there. And I can erase that. Okay, so I take my eraser and fix that a little bit. Okay, so that's our first line. And then we're going to draw the line that touches it. And that starts about 1/3 of the way up from the bottom, or 2/3, I should say, 1/3 from the top.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more than 1/4. We'll start around here. It doesn't have to be exact. We're just making approximations. So this is going to be where our section, one of the middle ground mountain sections. It's around here. It kind of bows out and then it comes down. Okay, and then we have a little mountain in the back. You can just make it any shape you want. It doesn't have to be the same as the photo. It can just be similar. Like a little fullness there. Now I think I'm too high up, but it's okay. We're just revising as we go. Then we're going to do the river. We'll start about above the bend of this hill and we'll curve around and then come to past the middle of the picture, right about here. And our river opens up to us. And here we have the whole mountain. And we're going to put our foreground at the end, our foreground of trees. We'll do that last. So now we have our last mountain range in the back. Some little mountains back here. And that's our main points, our main sections. Section 3, Section 2, Section 4, 5, and 6. And then 7 is the sky. Section 1 is the foreground, which I said we'll do later. Okay, so now this is a general outline of our photograph. And we're going to add some drama to the scene. We're going to put a cloud column over here on the left side, very similar to many of Bierstadt's paintings. And we're going to put it kind of in front of the background, but just behind this middle ground here. So it's just behind that and it's nearby. And then we're going to have sunlight coming out from behind the cloud. So we're going to start with the lightest colors first. And what I have to do is erase some of my lines because I'm going to have white cloud there. I'm going to erase a little bit of the hill that I'm covering up. And I'm going to start just putting some cloud colors. So in the clouds, they tend to be kind of gray, a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue, a little bit of peach. So if you can find your lightest colors, like these, okay, these, if you have anything like this, you can try using those for your sky. And because if we do it just all white, then you don't really, it doesn't have dimension. So we're going to start with putting in the white chalk pastel in the cloud area. And it's kind of like a base for coloring into with our other colors. And so now I can put on top some kind of outlining, some little bit of shape there. And a little bit of colors in here. And I'm just going to spread them around with my fingers. I should have erased my pencil because we can still see that. It's a little bit too dark for the pastels. If you have oils, you can go right on top of pencil and you won't ever see it again. But since we're doing these light pastels, we've got to erase the pencil markings that are in our white cloud. Okay, so I have the peach color, and I'm just going to kind of make a cloud here. A little bit of shadings, little shadowy parts, and I'm going to rub it in. And we'll work on that more later, but that just gives us an idea of what we want to see. Kind of some puffs and some a little bit of drama. Okay, so now we're going to put in some blue sky, but I'm going to save this section right here for the sunlight. I'm not going to actually draw a sun, but I'm just going to make it bright light. So I'm going to put my blue sky on this side. So let's just put that in. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it to be at least to the mountains. And put in some blue sky there. Okay, that's a nice bright soft blue. We can rub it in. The pastels are so easy to use. And smear it out a little bit. Here. And then we're going to use our yellow for the sunlight. It's just going to be a bright yellowish light coming through here. We should erase some of this mountain, maybe make it lighter. Mountain line. And have this kind of blend in with our blue sky. And then we have our background mountains here. This is our lightest mountain. And it's going to be kind of similar to the colors of the background because it's kind of far away. The sky's far away and the mountains are far away. So I'm actually going to put some blue, hazy, a little bit of blue on there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of gray. Okay. Just a little bit of gray on there. That's also background. I'm going to rub it in. Make sure I have a nice line. And then on top of that, I'm going to put some of this peach. We can layer colors. We're going to do lots of layering of colors here. It's starting to look like the hills that have the bleached color grass. So I'm going to put a little bit of green. Yeah, it looks kind of brownish. You can put a little bit of green in there. I don't want it to get too dark. That's the only problem. put a little greenish for those trees that are way back there. And then I'm going to cover it up with white because it's just too dark for such a far away place. Just going to cover that up with the white and make it go farther in the distance. See that? That's my farthest away mountain. And now our little bit closer mountain is right here. So we're going to give that some gray, peachy. Don't want to draw on my cloud with some little peachiness. Where does it end? It ends around about here. And give that a little darker blue. So I want to get a darker blue and put that on there because those green trees are going to look a little bit like blue when they get darker. Kind of like the pine trees are a little bluish green. That looks like it should be a little taller, I think. Okay, put some green, make those pine trees color. I'm not, as you can see, I'm not worried about drawing individual trees because they're so tiny and far away, right? So we just want to get the general color of that mountain. And then I'm going to put a little white on top. Let's just blend it in first, see what it looks like. So we're lightening the value, right? Putting a lighter, making it whiter, and we're lightening the value, getting a higher value with that white in there. Wow, it looks almost like a real mountain. Okay, now we're going to do this level here. This whole section of mountain is kind of in the picture. It's kind of all the same darkness and brightness, but we're going to have the sun shining on this right here. So we want this right here to be really bright and light. We might even pretend there aren't any trees there and just put some nice light green grass so it brightens it up and it looks like the land of promise where you're going to find your pot of gold, right?